Are you ready to learn about the property market? Then you're in the right place. This is Everything Property by Pivotal Homes, where we connect Australia's best developers, agents, home buyer specialists, wealth creation experts, and property advisors to the people of Australia. Broadcasted from Whitehorse Studios on the Gold Coast. And now, here are your hosts, Hayden Ashton and Tom Egan.
G'day guys, welcome to Everything Property by Pivotal Homes, where we connect Australia's best developers, first home buyer specialists, wealth creation experts, property advisors and agents to the people of Australia. Today's guest needs no introduction, but I will do him the honour nonetheless. He is known as one of Australia's highest achieving residential sales agents, a stalwart figure of the Brisbane real estate scene. Last financial year alone, he sold over $50 million worth of property, voted the number one agent in Ascot Hendra, where he also holds the highest average sales price. He votes in the top 1% of the agents in Australia and is in the top 20 agents in Queensland. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Patrick McKinnon. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks, mate.
How are you?
Sounds like I sell some stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Sounds like you're pretty all right, huh?
I'm doing the job, eh?
Mate,
surprise.
We are really excited to have you on, and thanks so much for coming in, because I think you're going to really provide a lot of good value and feedback to the people watching about what's happening in the market, post and in pre-COVID-19 and where it's at now in such a, unknown time. I think a person of your expertise is really going to be able to shed some light as to where it's been, where it's at, and where you think it's going to head to as well. But before we dive into that, what I really love to hear is your story and how you got into real estate, where you're at now, and what you do.
Yeah, awesome. I originally a butcher out of school, couldn't get out of there quick enough.
Yeah, right.
And got into carpentry after that. Did 3 years of a 4-year apprenticeship, kind of had a falling out with the boss and decided to go pick up a hammer instead. And I was always shitty that I never finished it, but I wasn't going to go back to the shop, so I ended up at Harvey Norman and worked for Harvey Norman for 8 years. I was the youngest franchisee to ever open a shop. Mm-hmm. Jerry obviously backs you, and I opened up.
So you were a franchisee?
Yeah,
right.
I had Kingaroy.
Right.
I used to work down here at the Gold Coast. I used to work for Steve Cavalier at Bundle here for years.
Yep.
And, I loved Harvey Norman. It was great until the GFC kind of hit, and the pressure on trying to make money on a $1,000 TV was just doing everyone's heads in. And,
yeah, right.
Unless you had one of the really big stores, and mine was make money when things were going good, but to do that for $100,000 a year was not really appealing. So I ended up working with a financial planner. He gave me he hired me as a consultant to find property for his clients, and because super funds was a big thing. Obviously, how I met you too back in the day. We had heaps of clients looking for property, and I just lived on a plane for a year, finding good property. Got to know the market in Australia, and then got into property marketing. So started selling, Darwin, Catherine, Canberra, and I would, we were doing pretty good. Like we were doing, 50, 60 properties a year, just me and a mortgage broker and another lady. So,
numbers.
And I guess the tax on your relationship with the wife, being away for 2 weeks, coming back for 2 weeks, away for 2 weeks, it was just doing our heads in. We wanted to have a little kid, and I went, stuff it all. I found a job online and went into resi, and I obviously, when you're earning pretty good money, you go, how do you go take that step backwards to go into resi? And they had a pretty good job advertised as a Coronis did as a area leader, and it's kind of the carrot to get the good agents in,
right? And
it's a smart job, application, because you get people that are obviously talented, but they don't look at the job because you show them $70,000, you're not going to go get these people. But and they did it really well. They tiered a structure that I could get into resi and kind of cost me. I had to make it work. So my first quarter in real estate, I was in the top 3% of Australia.
Yeah,
from
right.
a standing start.
What year was that?
Be 5 years ago.
Yeah, right.
I started at Coronis Bracken Ridge, and I did I think I did 140 in fee or 150 in fee my first quarter.
Right.
From a standing start, and I ended up writing about 750 in fee my first year in real estate. So one of the top ones of Australia. But I kind of already had a degree in sales almost. You know what I mean? So doing all what we do in property marketing and teaching people how to buy property.
Yep.
I went into Resi and was just going, how easy is this? I got all these buyers.
Yeah.
We never had buyers. We had heaps of stock.
Yeah, that's right.
It's reversed. And I said to I'd be in the office and I'd be like, oh, God, I've got a buyer that's keen in Wavell Heights. And like, you good on you, dickhead.
That's right. Yeah,
there's 1,500 of them. So
yeah.
I come from a service disposition from you, like going, how good's this? I got buyers and, mate, I made it work. So I'd go knock on, okay, what house did you like? They go, we looked at one and take them. I went, oh, which one? And he go, I was on the market last year. Hey, would you still sell? Yep, sold, done. And then on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. So I found it really easy to get into Resi because I had a great service disposition. I was good at talking to people, and I found it super easy. I don't like working Saturdays, still don't, but I play golf on Fridays, and that's my play off. But like I got into this purely just to be when I can come home to my kid every night.
Yeah.
So that's the best part. Even though it is 7 days a week, it is way better having the stresses of real estate, but not being stuck on a plane all the time.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah.
it was the catalyst. So
Yeah, right.
And now I left Coronas, bought Place Ascot.
Yep.
Damien Hackett, obviously one of the bigwigs of Brisbane. I wanted to partner with him. Mm-hmm. He's awesome. And then I recruited Drew Davies as a 50-50 business partner last year, which was one of the best decisions. It took me a year to get him on board. Yep. And he's another one of Brisbane's blue chip agents, and there's both of us now. So
yeah, right, and doing amazing things.
Yeah, it is. It's we've taken so much market share and off, and we our goal of growing that office to the number one agency in the area is on the way.
Yeah, awesome, mate. That's incredible. So your first year, first quarter, you're in the top 3% of agents in Queensland.
Australia.
In Australia, right, wow.
First quarter.
Yeah, wow. And so coming from a Harvey Norman background, like you said, the buyers were plentiful and there wasn't enough stock. So you just get off your ass and find it.
Yeah, like stock in real estate is the key, right? If you're good at listing, you're good at real estate. Well, they sell themselves almost, they say, but they don't. But again, if you're good at listing, you'll find that you're going to do pretty well. But in I guess property marketing, when you're selling product that have an oversupply of units, when Australia went through now, there's an undersupply almost coming to Queensland. But you look at supply and demand. In Wavell Heights, there's a huge demand for property. You look at most suburbs in Brisbane, there's a huge demand for property. And if you just got to scratch to put deals together, right? So investors ringing up, and I'd ring you, and I'd go, "Hey, you got a cracking property in Blim, but bang, we sell him." So we sell this guy off the plan property that's better yield, better rent, better depreciation. So I just found it really easy to match
the two.
matchmaking. Yeah. That's all it is. It's matchmaking.
Yeah, and so you're in Ascot.
Yep.
And is that your main service area? Your service right across Brisbane Metropolitan?
No, I pretty much have a rule: if I can't get there within 20 minutes. I'm probably not the best agent for you.
Yep.
I will list in Paddington. I'll list in different places if they're friends or they're relatives, or they want me to do it, or they've tried with a local agent. Like we're listing one in Kenmore Hills. It was with a past client of mine, so I went into the listing presentation and they went with a local agent, which was hard. They felt bad not going with me, and I said, "Don't stress, go with a local agent, but just sign a 2-month exclusive if they haven't got it done." So they got an offer at 1.6. We listed it after the 8 weeks, put it online. The photos were horrible. The way we presented the home, my stylist came in, didn't actually hire any furniture. She just actually told her to go buy a couple of pieces, redid the house and removed all those stuff around. And we sold it for 1,905 in 3 days on the market.
Yeah, wow.
With multiple offers. So, is there a trick to it? Yeah. Is there, I will go to like Kenmore Hills. I will go to anywhere if they really need my help.
Yeah.
And I've got to be the right agent for the job. You know what I mean? If you listen to me when I'm Broady, I'd probably not be the right. I'll come down here and do the opens on Sundays.
Yeah, that's right. You surfboard in hand. Yeah. Mate. And I think that's where you're obviously well known in that area as being a little bit more of a prestigious agent. So people who have those higher end properties, you're obviously the man to call based on your track record. I think I saw something you got the highest average sales price or something in that area.
Yeah, and I've got one of the highest sales in Ascot too at $11 million. I sold Don May, the pizza man's house.
Yeah, right.
Or did all that deal off market and put him into a 7.25, and I sell anything though. Still, I've got past clients ringing me today that I'm selling a $600,000 house in Wavell for auction, and I've got a $3 million house and a $4 million. I do everything. I don't knock back stuff. Certain things I can't put my name on, I guess, because of those things. Like clients don't want you on a Hamilton Road listing. I guess you got to play the game.
Yeah. Play the game and massage it through, as you said.
Good team.
It comes back to deal making at the end of the day.
It does, and like people out of area come into Ascot, and I used to watch it when I was out of area, but it's not easy to sell in there. Like it's one of the most highly competitive markets in there, and the houses and the buyers are very cliquey too. Like you got to know your stuff. If you don't know your stuff, you'll get eaten up. And then what does that do? It affects the seller's sale price at the other end, and you dust up $100,000 if you get a bad agent. So
their experience.
And mate, we've just come through an unprecedented time for the entire, or still going through. I shouldn't say we're through the other end of it just yet, but we're going through an unprecedented time whereby a lot's changed so quickly in the way not only we do business, but the whole of Australia interacts with each other. And particularly in real estate, there were so many restrictions in terms of people through open homes and all that sort of thing. How did that affect you guys in the last 3 months in terms of the way that you had to utilise technology? And I suppose you guys have always been someone to embrace technology. So were you guys affected very much, or did you have to just change and slightly alter things? Or
I think we already had it all there, but we just didn't use it. We could have done this over Zoom, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But it's better belly to belly. You feel better. Like it's the same as property. People want to be belly to belly. They don't want to be looking through a home on a video virtual walkthrough. We were on the front foot with Gavel, which is the auction app. And we were doing virtual walkthroughs, and the way we did it got very well perceived from the buyers and sellers in the area. So that we were sending it to potential listings, and they're going, "These guys are working their ass off." We're walking around a house and getting deals done with restrictions, and it was tough. Like having an auction with the parents in the backyard, the son in the living room on the deck, and then 3 buyers outside at the front of the house watching it on the app that weren't ready. Like it was difficult, but
layers of complexity.
Yeah, but we sold. I sold the last 3 or 4 out on the Hammer, and the other one was only on Tuesday, and we'll get that done today. So we've actually sold some under the Hammer. We've managed to get through, I guess, the restrictions a bit and the elbow tapping, and people are keen as mustard to shake hands again now. Everyone's back on the shaking hands again. No, it's not stopped. So I think we're back. Queensland's pretty safe at the moment, isn't it? So I think people are pretty comfortable with getting back to normal.
Getting back into it. Yeah, even if you drive through or walk through the shopping centres and restaurants and that, there's people back out and interacting, like we were 3 or 4 months ago. So
the highways are full again. So.
Yeah, the highways are full.
Yeah, you can trust me.
Absolutely. And through that time, what was the typical purchaser? Because even we came across it in the news space. Everyone was looking for a deal.
Yeah.
People were
opportunistic.
Opportunistic, and people were thinking that the arse was going to fall out of the market, and it's proven again, as property always does.
As the stock market has it too. Like even the stock market's resilient. So you think if the stock market's bounced back, how do you think property price is going to fall 10%?
Yeah, exactly
it's just
right.
happen.
And Australia's love affair with property just continues to evolve, because it's proven again it's safe as houses. But what we noticed, that there was definitely a mindset shift from the purchaser's point of view as to they weren't necessarily willing to pay the advertised price. They had the idea, or
they want a deal.
Yeah, correct.
And they still do. Like we're finding to get deals together, we've got to be pretty creative. But like for the vendor, why wouldn't you dust up? Let's say the property's worth 1.5 and you're getting offers at 1.45. Why wouldn't you transact that? Go buy something at the other end too. So you're buying and selling in the same market. A lot of people don't have to sell; have just taken them off the market, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I think in spring, JobKeeper and all this is probably going to be extended from the news and everything. I don't think that there's going to be the pain that everyone thinks there is, but I do think a lot of stock will come to the market, which could affect prices, because if there's more on the market, at the moment there's a bit of opportunity where, there are, buyers and there's hardly any property. So stuff is selling really well. But I think, there is a little bit of a shortfall, but it's not 5%, it's not 10% or anything like that. I think it's just people just want to do a little deal.
And are you seeing vendors a lot more likely to negotiate due to the current market conditions, where opposed to January, February, where everything was very, very buoyant, they would have just stonewalled it? Or you think the same level of transacting's going on?
No, it was difficult. I didn't sell a house for 6 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So from all my stock that's over $2 million and some of that I didn't have much cheaper stuff. My office was still selling stuff, and then we started to claw together at the odd two, and then we're back on track now. We're doing some really good deals, but it was tough there for 6 weeks. Like I couldn't sell anything.
When Corona hit, I was looking to buy down here, and when it first hit for the first 6 weeks, there was just a lack of listings. Like there was barely anything. Like I was looking for a price bracket of 600 to about 900. Yeah. Just looking for a good deal as well, but there was barely any listings available in the Gold Coast. I couldn't find barely anything.
And when you want to move into something because your family's growing, or some people can't stop buying a house,
Yeah. And I just felt like half of them I would contact, it was available. Oh no, sorry, the vendor was or taking it off the market, or it sold really quickly because there was just no supply and people still had to buy. Yep. Yeah, it was quite different.
We've found people are paying good money for houses, and even some over reserve. So I think the opportunists, like the developers and that, they're all still looking for a bargain. Whether the bargain comes or not, who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
And I'd rather just buy something and know you got a good price. I don't know. I from all the people I talk to, I was talking on another podcast thing with some serious people, like some serious guys that own multiple offices in Sydney and stuff, and those boys are saying their property prices are through the roof, they're flying, and their numbers are back to normal. Like they just can't get enough stock, but the selling wise, the prices are high, and Brisbane always, gets the tail end of that. So if Sydney's going well, we will probably go well too, Yeah,
it normally seems to follow Sydney and Melbourne, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm doing a couple of developments myself, and we pulled out on one that as COVID hit, high-end house, $6 million kind of home, and we pulled out on that because, again, a bit of doubt. But I've now sold that site because a mate of mine wanted to buy it, but I've sold that site to another developer, and I'm going to get to sell it at the other end. I'm like stoked because I know the buyer will be there in 18 months when it's finished.
Yeah, right.
So, and we got townhouses we're doing, and that I actually sat on at a lunch, and it was a very formal lunch, but it went around the room about 9 people, some big wigs of Brisbane developing, some really big wigs, and they're all very bullish for the second half of this year. So if 9 guys that have that much money invested in Brisbane real estate, like some of them put some of their stuff on hold, some big one floors in the city and those kinds of things, because they just think, why do it now? What if lockdown happens? It could effectively cost them. They're not worried about selling the product, but they were worried about restrictions and different things that effectively could hurt their back pocket and their margin. But, that's 9 people that I know that are out acquiring right now in this market and paying good money, fair money for stuff. So
and I've said it a couple of times and I'll say it again. I sound like a broken record, but the property market in Australia, I was saying, to be involved in this industry, both construction and property, it's like sitting in a spa while watching the world burn. And when it comes to other industries like tourism and whatnot, we're very, very lucky that it's such an important part of the Australian economy where there's just
not one chippy put down their hammer, did they?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly right. So it's so integral to the fabric of what keeps Australia turning, and there really is no choice to have it fail or fall, because they would have detrimental effects, for the everyday Australian.
Well, you saw every building site kept going, not one shut down.
Yeah.
I think maybe the bigger ones maybe had effect on time frames and that, but they were still there. Everywhere in our area was just flying along.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like most construction sites didn't see any change unless you had the big ones with hundreds and hundreds of people on site, where it came to social distancing and those sort of rules.
Logistics issue.
That's right.
Yeah, and I would be sitting at home in that 6 weeks and training every day, and duck out to one appointment, and then duck to a house, and you'd see 15 chippies on a house. I'm like, what the hell? This just isn't normal. And they're all going, chuck us that, chuck us this. So it was kind of just odd more than anything. But
yeah, no, we're definitely, because obviously we're in the new space, and on the back of the home builder grant, which I'm sure you've heard about from the federal government. Like things are like land wise, it'd have to be close to 80% of land now sold, registered land, because we had someone in here earlier this morning, Daniel Baxter, and there's been 20 to 25,000 applications made already to that home builder, and they only expected it to do 30,000 from the outset. So to have that happen in 3 weeks.
Oh mate, Perth, we just sold a house for one of my staff's brother. And he's an ex-AFL player, and he's flown back to Perth, and they've already bought a block of land. So his parents have bought a block of land. So I think Perth's going to, get this massive surge of building. They don't need more stock, do they?
No, that's right. Yeah, they've got plenty. Yeah, they've got plenty there. Yeah, Perth is Perth is so interesting because it's so reliant on the mining, the mining sector, isn't it? But you look over there, it's such a beautiful.
Yeah.
We went there for State of Origin a couple of years ago, and there's not a lot of retail. Like a lot of the shop fronts and that are still empty, aren't they?
Yeah, and a lot of it's old too. There's not a lot of new developments going through Perth either. Besides, the new stadium over there was amazing. Watched the
cool.
Origin. That was pretty cool. Yeah,
You went to it?
yeah. I think Optus Stadium. I think it says. Yeah, that was amazing.
Better than the Wacker.
Yeah, the light show is incredible.
Mate, what you mentioned there earlier about, you said properties sell themselves, when we know that's not the case. And there's obviously a team that goes behind it and the right strategy. In terms of your strategy to market, obviously there's a few different ways that you guys operate. How do you make the decision on whether to send it to auction, or is it going to be a digital campaign or inspections and whatnot? Yeah, how do you sort of make that adjustment, or is it on a case-by-case basis, or also working with the with the seller, the vendor, as to what they think?
Yeah, every bit of stock's very different. I'm fortunate enough that I've sold off the plan.
Yeah.
And we've just managed to sell a $4 million duplex. Well, they're two houses, but freehold, but on Hamilton Hill for $4 million off the plan.
Yeah, right.
From really good renders. Social media, actually the buyer, I always market, a lot of people, when they boost their posts, they change the age from 30 to 60 or something like that. I always do from 15 to 55 or 60 or whatever. And the daughter, who's in high school, forwarded it to the dad.
Yep.
The dad came and bought it for $4.4 million.
Yeah,
so
right.
It cost me $50 to sell the property.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And, but so every strategy is different. Like I tell these guys, get me renders. If you're going to want me to sell it off the plan, spend $5,000.
Yeah, it's a presentation.
Yeah. I need like the best renders. And if it's a family home that I know on a great block with an open plan to the yard, auction it, because we're going to have multiple people buying it. If it's a tricky property, you can auction it too, because you show motivation. But I would only auction 20% of my stock.
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that auction everything. Auction agents, as they say. But I think there's a Gold Coast. There's different markets within markets, but Ascot's very susceptible to auction. So it is a suburb where we feel comfortable in auctioning. But if you buy a house in, I've got a mate of mine just finished a reno in Kedron, and he's like, mate, come over, will you sell it? I'm like, yeah, no worries. And he goes, I want $750. I go, mate, we'll sell it for more than that, I reckon. And I'll whack a price on it, offers over $750. I'll be at the open, and I actually sold one of them around the corner. He rang me, he goes, will you sell a house in Stafford? I'm like, yeah, of course. And for you, mate. And I had, I put it online, offers over $699. He wanted $720. And this is only a year ago. And I had 3 offers in 24 hours. I didn't have an open up. I did 3 private inspections, 3 offers, sold it in 24 hours for $755. He was happy with $745, and I rang him and walked in the door with $755. I said, will you take $745? He goes, mate, no shit. And I walked in the door with $755, and he's just gone, what? And then 58 groups through the open on the weekend.
Yeah, right.
So you can if you put a red hot price on something, for a house in Kedron or something, people are going to come. But then it's just multiple offers, and you get into a bit of a bidding war. You do it without auction. You sold 1 week on the market. Why would you bother taking it to auction? So I think there's sometimes I've got to push people into auction that don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I say to them, guys, I do this literally
day in, day out.
Hardly any of the time. I go, guys, why I'm saying this to your property, the one down the road isn't as good as yours. Yours is that good. And I actually prefer selling them before auction.
Yeah, right.
In the middle of COVID, we sold one for 1720 under the hammer. And it's the best feeling, cash, unconditional, and you settled in 30 days. It's great. That was one of the highest sales through COVID under the hammer.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so it's all down to process. We wouldn't have got that price, no way, if we weren't auction.
Yeah, right.
No.
And
no motivation.
Yeah, and what we obviously a different space, but what I want to pick your brain about also is the purchasers who are coming in. It's a little bit different, and you'll understand both sides. Generally, when you're looking at a resi property, your finance is probably already pretty much tied up or very, very close.
Yeah.
With the new stuff, it's pretty much at a standing still. You got to start from scratch most of the time. But what we're noticing at the moment is banks are really, really, really slow with finance, and wanted to pick your brain about that in terms of contract terms and how you're positioning your vendors and the purchasers to make sure that everything runs like clockwork, because there's some significant issues that can arise if people don't do their end of the bargain.
Well, I actually did my mortgage broking diploma when I was working for the financial planning company, because if you're going to discuss finance, and it's probably helped me in real estate more than I could ever know, like. I've never written a loan, thank God, but but I don't understand how the banks are. Like I got a mate that works for NAB, and no joke, he reckons that Phil can leave an Excel spreadsheet on Hayden's desk and piss off for the weekend, and then that gets forgotten about till Thursday, and he goes, "Oh shit, forgot about your loan."
Yeah,
and like we're talking about this, they're transferring stuff on Excel.
Yeah, right.
Like seriously, like we're not living in a day of the ages. Like all this stuff should be so much safer, and you know the Banking Royal Commission screwed us for 6 months and cost us all lots of money,
and they made the mortgage brokers pay for it.
and you know what, that was the worst thing in Australia, because nothing changed. All it is now harder to get a loan. You can't have a punt on Saturday because they mortgage your accounts.
Yeah, that's right.
So like the problem with I guess banks at the moment is, like, we're getting people pushed back on 21-day finance, and I'm just going, 14, go with my broker, and my brokers, you know, Macquarie are doing great deals. There's ways to get. You need a really good broker.
And a bulldog.
Yeah, oh, man. And if you've got the best broker, you will get the finance a lot quicker. Like obviously, if you're starting from a standstill and they've got to dip through, can you afford it? You know, you're doing all that, but. A good broker can do that really quickly because they've got the right staff, and you're not just getting a mum and dad at home. You want to get someone that's really good at what they're doing, and we're finding we're getting loans through very quickly. So I think, banks are an excuse, but there's other ways to get the money.
Yeah, if you want it bad enough, you'll get it, right?
Go to someone that's keen to do business. Like, who cares if you got to pay 0.5% more?
Yeah, money's so cheap.
You don't
anyway,
have to deal with a bank. Like when I started, with interest rates, a red hot deal was 7%. You know, and now I remember when 4.99 came out, like we were doing backflips on the calculations. But money's that cheap now. Like paying it, I'm going to pay happily, so no one can go through my bank account. So I got sports bet on a Saturday. I'm buying shoes and cycling gear. You know, I'm not the ideal client to get a loan at the moment.
And that's where the deposit amount comes into.
That's right.
For the brokers, the more that you have deposit, the less the banks want to see.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, Macquarie, perfect example of just people that want to do deals at the moment if you've got a good deposit. So
and it's good. You have got to have those right brokers that hold the buyers accountable too, guys. You've got to get all your submissions in, all your documentation, and you've got 14 days.
Pull the finger out.
Pull the finger out, because I just find if you actually contact some brokers and you're just like, what are you missing? They're like, we're waiting on clients from documents from clients. Like,
no, they're going to take a day off work.
Yeah, that's right.
If you really want to be serious about buying a property, whether it's resi or investment or anything, take a day off work. Go take a day off, turn your phone off, and actually work through getting all the document ready. Like, you know,
I'm not free until next week. This property's not for you.
I said my broker's really good like that. He's pretty bullish with them. He goes, guys, if you want to get me this stuff today, work on it overnight. So I think if you want to get finance at the moment, you can get it. You just need to go down the right avenues and use the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a few transactions together. Staging properties. Oh, important or not?
Well, as I said, with that Kenmore Hills house, like they had. I'll send you the photos too, the before and afters. And the big thing with the photos, when you looked at when it went online, I just went, it looks so empty. The house looks so empty. And she rang me and she goes, what did you think? I said, I won't tell you. I'll tell you if she doesn't sell it.
Yeah.
And then when I said, it just looks crap.
Yeah.
And it just looks so empty. The house is gorgeous. And my stylist came in and she just moved the dining room out of this, made it a piano room, put that in the living room, made it full. Went and bought 2 couches, spent $2,000 on furniture, and everyone who went in just went, this is like a showpiece. And the photography's everything. We use a really good photographer. We use a great videographer, drone footage, and show people. You've got to show the house in like if you're selling a $2 million property, you've got to show it like a $2 million property.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can't,
iPhone photos aren't going to do it. Yeah.
and you like we're even going to the next stage now. We're actually meeting with a commercial company,
Right.
and they do 200, 300 grand budgets on film for commercials and all this kind of stuff. And we've got a really big developer we're working with for over 200 houses,
Right.
townhouses and apartments in Ascot, and we're pitching to them next week. Rather than spending $2,000 on a property video, like spending 10, spending 20, and the Courier Mail, we don't use the Courier Mail as much anymore. Like I did heaps last year, but I think it's kind of lost its thing. So we're going to start investing in. I'm going to tell my clients, if you've got a $3 or $4 million home, let's spend $10,000 on a video. Like let's go hard. Like rather than spending we spend probably $1,500 plus $1,500 on media, social media. Spending 5 to 10 on the video and showing the property in a way that's just blows people's mind, like a short feature film almost. You know what I mean? So we want to be on the forefront of that. And with my developers, it's the same thing. Like if we want to sell it off the plan, okay, great. Let's go get some shit hot renders. Let's go and let's sell this thing like a story. Like you know what I mean?
It's amazing. Like the video side of things, it's only been a couple of years really since that's been big, and it's still not very big. It's still not used overwhelmingly, but you can really tell the difference even when you're looking at a property and you've got a nice video with a Lambo at the front or whatever, that sort of style film. It gets that, gets the juices flowing almost.
Excites them. I see that Batuka Advocate post that says that real estate agent sells a house without a drone image. He goes, if only they were all easy like that.
It is really, I suppose, changing the way properties are marketed. And, as you said, that story about the 15-year-old girl who shows the dad and, there's stories starting to come out whereby, TikTok and all these other social media channels are just dominating.
Like my business partner's got 33,000 Instagram followers. He's the most followed real estate agent in Brisbane. Drew Davies, get on there and have a look. Patrick McKinnon. Follow. But,
how much did he pay you to that endorsement?
No, he doesn't need it. I need it. I'm growing mine, but I only got 4,000, and he's changed my profile on Instagram. Like the way I list, the way I sell. Like if I'm not posting on Instagram, I walk in listing presentations. They're like, "No, we watch what you do. Yeah, we saw you at that open home. Yeah, we saw you do post that photo." So I get to see some pretty cool houses.
Yeah.
So people, my mates and my family, I've got a really high view rate on my Instagram. So I've got 4,000 followers, and even when I had 2,000, I'd have almost 600 to 800 view it.
Yeah, right.
And now that's even more. So you've got heaps of a couple of thousand people looking at a video you post. Yeah, it's awesome way to reach people. Like
because we take it for granted. You see these $5-10 million houses every day, whereas the average person looks at that and thinks, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, they love it.
What the fuck is that thing? It's amazing.
Some of the properties I get to go through, it's like
pinch yourself,
mate. You're sitting there having a glass of wine with the CEO of Domino's, sitting there chewing the fat. It's pretty cool.
Put you on the trust.
When I signed an $11 million deal, I rocked up to his house and I got a Bic pen and my Mont Blanc was in the car. Yeah, right. And I've gone, "Sorry, mate." And I'm signing with a Bic. But you just have to. We went through Christopher Skase's old house.
Right.
Took a buyer through that 3 times, offered $13.5 million on it. And that was just surreal. House in Hamilton. Apparently, he spent $20 million building it in the days, and to go through all those rooms and
if the walls could talk,
and he's got the bulletproof door, and you see some pretty amazing things. Like even some of the sleeper houses you wouldn't think, and you walk inside them, and it's like, wow. I went through this house, and obviously I won't go to the details, but from the outside, it's got a tennis court, you think it's nice, but then you go inside, and you're just like, wow, these guys have spent $400,000 on a staircase.
Yeah, right.
And you just walk in, and they're very private people, but we don't Instagram those things, obviously. But when you do list it and you take it to market, that's when you get to showcase these things. And even garages and some of the cars, tennis courts, and buys the house next door to put a tennis court and 10 of his supercars underneath it.
Yeah,
so you go in those garages, it's like, whoa, it's pretty cool.
And you must have some amazing stories about some of the houses you've been a part of and buyers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, mate. Some of the transactions you do are just surreal too. Some people, the amount of money out there, and you know what? I live in Wavell Heights. I don't live in Ascot because I can't go to the shops without, getting bailed up. But I love Wavell Heights. Like I love selling Wavell Heights because they're the deals that I've built the best friendships with. A lot of them, like a lot of those clients that I've sold houses for, their first homes and second homes are still my good mates and I cycle with. And, I love all that stuff. I still love putting a house for $1 million or $600,000 in Wavell on the market because that's the best part of property. Those people are just a pleasure to deal with because they're so nice. The higher end can be pretty tricky. You can get a lot of personalities and, different things, but it's challenging and that's what makes you good at it. Like I say to my staff all the time, like whenever they got the shits or you can see them annoyed or they're going home, I go, mate, that's why you get paid, mate. I said, if they could do it themselves or someone else they would be. This is where you earn your money, mate. Smile. You're on camera.
Right.
and you just got to change your mindset. Like I have a sale fall over and it's the worst feeling in real estate. You'd be Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock.
Tommy's used to them.
Yeah. It's the worst feeling, right? You get this stupid email on a Friday at 5. So I've got a new strategy. I did start doing this years ago, but I rang the vendor. I go, Hayden, Pat, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate.
Guess what? Sales fallen over. How good. We get to open home tomorrow. Let's sell it. And on my they're going, are you fucking like, and I go, no, it has fallen over. It sucks. But guess what, mate? I'm opening it tomorrow and we're going to be there with a new buyer. I'm getting on the phone right now. I'm heading back to the office. Yeah. And my energy, they're like, oh shit, yeah, all right. Well, we're back on. So
we must be making some more money.
I had this deal. And it was one of my first deals. It was a shop on Sandgate Road with a house out the back.
Right.
And my first quarter, I sold it for $1.2 million. But I really had a clause in it that the fire rating had to be changed.
Right.
And we went through 4 months of this painstaking buyer, and the seller was just pissed and spent all this money. Sale fell over. He's just been a really rude guy. And I did that call to him. I said, look, sales fallen over. And they're like, 4 months, what did you do? Anyway, we only had 2 inquiries in that 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. And
I rang both of them, and they were both Asian buyers. I booked them 15 minutes apart, and both of them came in, multiple offers, and sold it that day cash, unconditional, for $35,000 more, which is, the sellers were just like, you're kidding me. But if I didn't have that energy, what's
you're
the
defeated. People buy into it, if you give up.
And my biggest thing, my biggest card that I do have is my energy. That's one thing you control. And, I'm so busy every day, but I still get up in the morning. I still go for a 40K bike ride, and I still get, you still got the days. I can't train during the day. I can't do those things. So you've got to create your own energy, and energy is everything. If you have it, other people will just, love it, and that's what they want. And, that's what gets you most of my business is from energy.
People would get a sense, like you love what you do too. Like I know I love what I do, and Tommy's the same. And that old saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I really think people really pick up on that.
Yeah, and they like talking to you. I get phone calls all the time. They're just like, oh, we just want to pick up. We just want to feel your energy. And I'm always, fire them up on the other line. Let's go.
Have a chat.
Next minute, they want to, in the marketing space, they have tough days as well where there's marketing strategy didn't work or a sale fell over. And I'm just like, mate, there's another 5 to go. Like, there's more sales to go. And what do you need from us? Like, that just fires them up to go do more. Yeah,
mindset.
Yeah, mate, those stories about that Sandgate Road, that's must be what you do it for, those turnarounds and those success stories. It gives you that buzz, and I love, there's nothing better than you feel like you pump your chest out, you've just closed the deal, or you're uncon or you settled or whatever. That's what you do it for, and turning the impossible to the possible.
Yeah, I think in real estate too, one thing I've learned really well is to not celebrate the wins and not commiserate the losses. So as much, so when you have a big win, don't fist pump, just get back to work.
Yeah.
When you have a big loss, don't get sour over it, just get back to work. And it's just such an more even headspace and playing field. And then every week I just celebrate the end of the week. So that way I'm not in a bad mood because a deal fell over. I'm not in a bad mood during the week or whatever because of whatever happened that I can't control. I'll whinge about it for 30 seconds and then just get on to the next thing. And then at the end of the week you go, hey, this week was all right. I sold a house, I listed a house, job done, go to have a beer,
It's so funny how quick it goes from being bad to really good all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I think the most fun me and Hayden have all the time is when our back's really against the wall or it's a tough month. And then we over-deliver somehow, because you just get into it and enjoy it even more. Yeah. And makes you feel, something weird, something wrong with us in sales or something, but you just enjoy it a lot more, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
Mate, you mentioned, obviously very, very busy, but you still get up in the morning and you do your bike rides and whatnot. Is there a secret? Obviously, you're one of the best agents in Brisbane, Queensland, obviously in Australia. Do you put it down to any particular reason why you're good, or is it just your energy? Is it your motivation, your family? What makes you go that extra mile that other agents might be missing?
I think talent. You know, I'm got something there. You know, my business partner said it at a job interview. It was hilarious. We sat there and went, you know, I have to work 30 hours a week more than Pat to get the same result. He goes, Pat's got, you know, not everyone's got the talent that Pat's got, but but he's got more. He's so smart. He's got a talent over me. You know what I mean? Like I've got the matey can chat, good energy. You know, all he can do is sit there and work harder, and that's it. There's no secret about it. You either, you know, some weeks I have to work 60 hours a week, same thing. You know, but I know when I'm having a bad month, I go hard. Like I will go and work even harder, and then, you know, it's 8 weeks away. That's it's 4 to 8 weeks away. So if you're having in a rut or you go on a holiday, it takes you 4 weeks to get back to that momentum. So you've kind of got to just keep that wheel spinning all the time and make sure you're making all those calls so the wheel doesn't fall off. You know, so energy's everything, mate. If you're a real estate agent, you know, like if you come to work just with a better attitude, you're going to do a better job. Yeah. Like this, rather sitting there every day doing nothing, just get off your ass and go call.
Keep grinding, yeah.
Like Drew said this morning, he goes, I was in a bad mood this morning. He goes, so I made 10 calls on the way into work. Yeah. And he goes, something good's got to happen out of that. And it's right. He goes, I feel good now. I've spoken to 10 people that had a better outlook on life than I did this morning. Yep. And nothing's going wrong in his life. He's just trying to get some deals together. He's a bit frustrated. So rang 5 vendors, rang 5 buyers. You know, just get on the phone and start calling people.
And prospecting for listings, that's obviously one of the hardest parts of real estate, or what people struggle with, like you mentioned earlier. Has that changed? Like, I mean, when I first, well, not many people know, but I had a go at residential real estate when I first got into the industry, and you know, you give it the phone book and you just start going.
A desk and a phone book.
Yeah,
good
that's
luck,
right. And you go. But that was 8 or 9 years ago, and that was how it was done. Is that the way it's still to get down to cold calling, or is there other strategies now that you can implement to try and get vendors on your books?
I think data's everything. You know, like I think there's all these models at the moment that are, you know, go work from home and we'll give you heaps of the comp. Yeah. I think COVID's proven it. All my guys, 10 of them love being in the office. We thrive on each other's energy. Plus we've got the data, you know. I've been in this game for so long now, like even 5 years is a long time for me. Yeah. Like I'm driving down the street today and now I've got these young guys working for me. They're going, anyone here, anyone there? And I go, for rent side, call him up. Nick, call this guy. I'll send you his number. I reckon he's ready to sell it.
Yeah, right.
Rings me back. Yeah, he's ready to sell. Yeah. I spoke to him 5 years ago, but I'm not looking for a 500-700 grand house in Wayne. Yeah. My mindset's not there, but it is more there because of them. But they don't see that. They don't see how easy it is to get that lead. They should be looking at on-the-market rents in Wavell Heights going, this one's been on the market for a month. Call the owner, find the number, call him up. Like, you don't have to dig in the dirt. You know, that's what I think a lot of people do. They sit there looking at a page, but you know, like properties that are on the market for rent, you know, withdrawn listings, you know, go find a buyer and then go find someone selling.
Almost reverse engineer it.
That's right. Yeah. And that's all I did. You know, withdrawn listings are the best things in the world because they wanted to sell, market's changed. You know, we would just constantly just get a buy, go through the house, build a relationship with them. And if you do 2 of them a week, and then you do 2 of the on-the-market rents, suddenly you've got 2 listings. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, you just need to sell 4 houses a month, and people just can't put it together. But all it is getting. It's how much you need. 10 appointments a week. Yep. You know, if you can get in front of 5 buyers, 3 sellers, and 3 appraisals, whatever, you're going to make money. You know, so it's just about tracking numbers, and you know, you don't have to dig in the dirt. You know, there's great stock out there that people want to buy. You just got to be the guy that puts it together. You know, I've started selling. Well, I haven't sold them yet, but started trying to put some big development sites together because I have a love for big developers. I've
Greenfield or apartment townhouses or
high-end apartments.
Yep.
And would look at high-end homes, like multiple. Like downsizer living homes, properties, and you know I love it. And I've got 3 developers, and I've got the sellers as well now. So we're just trying to put those deals together now. And, they're huge, $40 million, $50 million. I can't wait to do one of them. I reckon we'll get 2 done before Christmas is out.
Yep.
And then there's another feather in my cap that I can start thinking about, okay, no, I'm going to start doing a bit more of this too.
So you're finding raw sites, connecting a developer to it to go through the DA and then just facilitating that?
Sometimes the DA is already approved, it needs to be redone.
Yep.
So we'll look at anything. And I've got all these connections. I just hadn't opened my mind to it. You know what I mean? Like, mate of mine, comes over to my house and he's like, I think I'm going to put this site together for 100 mil. I'm like, what? And he goes through it with me. And I go, I'm going to buy for that.
Yeah, right.
And he's like, I'll scrap. And we've got a better buyer for it now. And like, we're just doing thinking outside the box. You know what I mean? And like, I was
evolving.
I was just having lunch with those 2 guys. Sorry, I was late. But those guys, like, I've pieced them together. Like, I'm like, he's a great real estate agent. You bought a site down the coast. He suits your brand. And I put them two together, and Jesse Wilcox and Batega, they're suddenly going to build these awesome apartments together, So I think we just got to think in my business and in every business, think about outside the box and how can I just do more things and put more people together? Like, I love referring, and I refer so many developers on the other side of the river. They're like, why didn't you do it yourself? I'm like, I'm not the best agent for the job. But then that developer just wants to do business with me now. Like, they're going, what can we buy? What can we buy?
Yeah, we've got anything in Ascot or Hendra.
Yeah.
What can I get my hands on?
And you because you did the right thing, it comes back in tenfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think all of us have just got to, in every business, like I was having a beer with a mate the other night in their job, and I'm like, mate, why don't you just go through my Instagram?
Yeah.
I go, mate, I've got how many people that that know me? I go, why when you just cold call my whole Instagram account? And he goes, yeah.
Good idea.
Anyway, he literally rang one of my mates, and he's got a deal today. Like, they needed his service. So, like, I'm like, I think we've all just got to help each other, and the more things, why I'm here today with you guys, same thing. Like, we just got to keep jumping into the pool and keep doing as much as we can, and it all comes back, and everything you do in life, I think the more you help people, the more you're going to get out of it.
One of my mentors used to say, you add value to people and the money will come. It might not come straight away, but one way or another, it'll come. And that's one of the biggest things I do is a thing called reciprocity. I just make people, give them as much as I possibly can, because it will come back and come back tenfold. One day, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a month's time, but in 4 or 5 years' time, exactly why you're here again, And if
it only comes back in the form of a friendship.
That's right.
One of my favourite things I ever heard from this bloke up in Darwin, you walk out onto a property, like, g'day, mate, how are you? Yeah, good. And you crack a gold and you're sitting there having a beer.
Whip.
Yeah, and he goes, we're sitting there and he goes, mate, I don't think we can help each other here. He goes, I got shitloads. Anyway, long and short, he goes, but you know one thing, Patrick? He goes, if you can't make a sale, make a friend. Yeah. And I live by that. I live by that saying. I say it to all my staff. I'm like,
yeah, right.
How'd you go there? I go, nah, mate, a good friend though.
Yeah, good.
So yeah, it is something that's stuck with me for years, and I think it's what we can all live by.
Mate, one other thing I want to cover off on is there's been plenty of guys come into the residential real estate space, with their promise of low fees or all that sort of stuff. Like the Purple Cow and those sort of guys. Purple bricks, yeah, whatever they are.
Same cow.
Same cow, different leg. How do you go overcoming that objection with your vendors? Because a lot of the time people just see that dollar figure.
Yep.
And obviously they don't understand the value that a better agent or price can add.
I don't think agents explain why they're more expensive. When you come to one of my opens, you've got 2 staff at the open. You've got my EA on the phone on a Saturday. My EA can work wherever she wants, but she will do a contract for me on the day on a Saturday. She carries her laptop with her. She should go shopping, but she can also go pick up her kid at 3 o'clock. She can go do whatever she wants. But on a weekend, if we need her, she's there.
She's there. Yep.
And I don't think people get how much that my team is around me is also talented. Like my right-hand agent has been in real estate 7 years. I don't have a 22-year-old out the front standing there going, "G'day, how are you?"
Yeah.
My team is
brushes his friend across his face.
I used to have a young girl that just stood out the front and took names. That's fine too, because my other guy was at another open of mine.
Yeah.
So at least they're getting experience. But all she was doing is putting names into a database. I was in the house talking to buyers and talking to men. So I think you get a lot more for your money. I always say to people, if I'm up against someone at 2% or something, I go, well, Great, let's sign it up at 2%. I said, at the end of it, if you think I was 1% better, pay me it. Up to you. So I just let them choose, you know. So I think I'll never knock back a fee, but I say, look, if I do the job right and I do get you the good price, you know, I do tiered commissions too. Like if I back what I'm going to say, like I'm going to go, well, you know, I sold this house in Ascot. I went against 5 agents. I got it and I praised it at 2.4. I sold it for 2.575 in 1 week. And I had them at 2.55, and then I went back for 25 more grand and got it. And this guy was stoked, and he had to pay me 3.3%.
Yeah, right.
You know, but but he was stoked. Like he didn't really matter.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just comes down to like I said to this guy about these off the plan ones. He goes, "What's your fee?" I said 3%. Like anyone can sell a $4 million house off the plan, needs a 3% fee.
Yeah,
because
that's cheap for off the plan.
That's cheap for off the plan.
Yeah.
And you know, like when you're talking $4 million, it's he's like trying to chip me. I'm like, mate, who's got the skills to sell this place? No one.
Yeah.
I said, how much better does it make your life? Like, you know, like if I can't get the price, chip me on the fee. But if I can, I can't remember, one real estate coach said, you know, think of Mr. Ed the horse. Do you show Mr. Ed horse the little carrot or the big carrot?
Yeah.
You show Mr. Ed the big carrot at the start, and then fees negotiable up until contract date. So give the agent the big fee, but if they don't get the result, chip them.
Yeah.
You know, so one of my agents did it on the weekend, stuffed up the open home time and wasn't there, and I just chipped the fee away. You know, and vendor felt great. We sold it that day anyway, but the vendor was pissed, obviously. And at the end of the day, he was all happy because, you know. And my agent will learn it again because he just got chipped on the fee.
Yeah.
But
like,
happen again. He still made money. Like it's nothing wrong with that.
A good lesson.
Yeah. And the buyer, the vendor was pissed. So fair enough. So,
mate, we're running out of time. But before you go, I want to ask you 3 things. I want to get your advice to potential agents who are either looking at entering the real estate market or maybe new to the industry and maybe struggling to find their feet. I want to get your advice and any potential tips for the market right now for vendors, particularly in Brisbane, and also for purchasers.
Okay, with agents coming into the game, go work at a big agency. Go get in a team and knuckle down for a couple of years.
Yep.
Don't go out and do your Ray White and what you said is sitting by your phone and sitting there by the phone. But like, you know, like the best way we're training people now is in teams. Get exposed to 100 deals, which is 2 years.
Yep.
You know, 50 deals a year is a good team. My purchase price, I only need to sell 30 to 40, and I'm this, you know, exactly where I need to be. We're probably going to lift that this year to 50. But I just hired a guy from Plantation Homes. Actually, he was selling Plantation Homes for 4 or 5 years. He's 26, smart kid, and works hard. Like the phone is a feather. He picks it up like nothing. And I go, call this, do that, and he's on. And it's just a pleasure to be around. And you know, he's now going to take a pay cut. He was earning really good money, like 160 grand at Plantation. I'm paying him 50.
Yeah, right.
You know, but he's got money in the bank. And he'll earn 100, but he's still taking a 50 grand haircut the first year. But he knows that at the end of it, he's going to come out. You know, I pay my guys really well, but I pay him on performance. You know, so it is a performance based fee. He'll earn over 100, like easily. Like he sold one his first month, and I gave him the whole comm because it was his brother's house. So I just said, mate, no, I'll help you with it, but you get the full comm. So find someone who's a really good agent and just get in their team. And that's
the training.
Get the training. Make sure they're the good agent that will let you go at the other end. You're not going to be married to them forever. But then again, staying in a team's not a bad thing either. You know, you can earn a couple of $100 grand a year in a team, and it's pretty good because you're working around mates and stuff. So that's my advice for the young guys. For a struggling real estate agent that wants to lift their game, invest in training. Get on Josh Vegan and pay him. You know, pay him to be your coach, one-on-one, not on a podcast. Tommy Panos has got some great stuff, but like getting a coach, like you pay Tom to be your coach or something. Invest $5 grand. Like there's a guy in Sydney that he spent $20,000 on education, and he's one of the best real estate agents now. But he went and invested 20 grand. You know, got his license and then went and spent 20 grand. You know, like you've got to invest in yourself as well, in your marketing and in everything. You've got to really invest in your brand, invest in Instagram, invest in everything. So if you're doing, you know, not the fees you want to do and you want to double your business, spend money. Spend money. You've got to get a loan out for 10 grand and go give it to Josh Vegan or spend it on a marketing company to get Instagram followers, and actually invest in your business, because otherwise you're just going to, you can't, and you can invest in your open homes. That's where you get all your business. Get a house, sell it, get water. Like I have cupcakes at my opens. I have bottles of water, lollies, like we make it look really schmick, so.
And there's potential sellers there as well.
That's where they all come from. Like I don't prospect
if they're all
much.
there to buy, if they're all there to buy, they're there to sell.
That's right. And if you're there on a Saturday looking $1 million and they like what you're doing and you're protecting the vendor, don't. What I hate about agents is, where do you live, Hayden? Oh yeah, oh yeah, can I come see that one? Pretty much you can taste it.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are you guys? Oh, in Ascot. Yeah, cool. I don't want to know where they live now. I'm selling the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Have a sales disposition when you're selling a house. Don't have a commission breath disposition.
Yeah, you can smell it.
Sell the house, and then you'll find out where they live later. Do your job.
Yeah.
So. For vendors, I think out there it is a good time to sell. The market's buoyant, and it is probably going to be a good time to buy. Not because I think prices are going to fall through the roof at the end of the year. I just think there's going to be a lot of stock on the market, and that could put pressure on prices. For vendors, I think this winter is the new spring, I guess. I think the next couple of months is going to be good selling time. And then when spring hits, we don't know. No one's got a crystal ball. I just don't think it's going to be as bad as everyone is saying it is. And I take that. I say that opinion from a lot of calculations from a lot of smart people that I know as well. So it's not just an optimistic real estate agent sitting there going, "We're going to be fine."
That's right.
So
keep buying.
And I think to your purchasers out there looking, I think it's a great time to buy real estate. I think even the share market. My business partner, not Drew, another one. I got my development business partner is a financial planner,
right?
And he's the most conservative man in the world. And we said today, he goes, "Look at the stock market. Who gives a crap?" The stock market's bounced back massively. If you had $100,000 lying around 3 months ago, pretty good time to dip your toe in the water with.
Right.
I kept on all my money because I didn't know what was going to happen with all my stuff. I didn't want to lose any staff, and we haven't lost any staff. We actually made money the last couple of months because of JobKeeper and all these good things. And even with all of that, we're going to come out of it stronger with a more loyal team and we've got a great team already. But I think we're all even closer after going through this. Because we realise how important it is to be a part of a team. At the moment,
have each other's backs. I mean, Tommy was saying something similar this morning where we've been able to keep our team together. There's no doubt about it in terms of sales volume. It's down. It was down prior to for the home builder for us, but it's very, very hard to find good people, and we've got such an amazing team. Like it sounds like you have as well. And last thing you want to do is have to let someone go and then try and find someone, because most of the time they won't measure up to the person that's already there.
Yeah.
So we're better off, and like we've taken the hit on keeping some extraordinary members of our team, because now that the tap's turned back on, we're straight back into business. We're not having to scale back up again. We're ready to go. We've already got the principles in place to do 250.
And our staff are always itching. When we told them to go home, take a couple of weeks off, they'll call us every day. What can we do?
Yeah, what can we do?
And that's where we came up with podcasts and heaps of other ideas. We just worked on the business together as a team. We involved them in other roles we normally wouldn't. Yeah. And it's all just been a really good experience for them, and everyone's growing. They're going to be better for it.
We were doing Zoom meetings every morning just for 15 minutes. What's on today? Any positive things you could talk about? And then, Wednesday afternoon we'd have some drinks, and Friday afternoon we're all on Zoom having drinks at the back of our house. It was great, So, I think technology, like you said at the start, has kind of brought us together. You can Zoom someone now. You can do so many things with your team, and I think it just connected us all more and more. I think.
Patrick, thanks so much for coming in, mate. I really appreciate it. Lastly, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Instagram, Patrick McKinnon.
Yep.
And then my email's on there if you want to flick me an email or anything.
Perfect. Patrick, thanks so much, mate. Really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you,
See you,
Sam.
mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
See ya.